Hello and welcome to episode 44 of And No. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. As always, it is greatly appreciated if you are willing to share this episode with someone. And if there's a topic or verse that you'd love for me to dig into, head on over to my website or message me through social media. When I was a kid, there were maybe 2 or 3 kids who had braces in our class. It just wasn't that common. And if you grew up in the 80s, braces for you were terrible. The term headgear is the legit way of describing what you wore when you had braces. Now there are a handful who don't wear braces, and you have options to choose band color, bracket colors. You can even choose invisible braces. We have come a long way. And I know enough kids with braces to know that there isn't just one standard journey for each set of teeth. Some only need braces for a year, others for 5 or longer. Sometimes tightening can hurt like crazy, and other times you don't even notice it. But there is one commonality with every person with braces. Adjustments are made, and each time is necessary. It doesn't seem like a little tweak would make that much of a difference, but the truth is, it makes all the difference in the world. What do braces have to do with the Bible? Actually, a lot. Okay, well, not braces exactly, but rather the importance of adjusting and correcting. Let's take a listen to Proverbs 12, verse 1. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid. Hold on. Did I just read that right? Yes, the Bible uses the word stupid. When my kids were little, they were not allowed to say the word stupid. It was like a bad word in our house, especially when they were toddlers. But lo and behold, here it is in the book of Proverbs. Well, I had to do a little digging on this one because I just can't imagine King Solomon saying that people are idiots. Well, here's what I found out. The word we see in Proverbs is the Hebrew word ba'ar. The meaning for ba'ar is those who willfully reject correction, instruction, and the wisdom of God. It does not refer to a lack of intellectual capacity, but rather a moral and spiritual failing. Well, okay, now we have a better understanding about this verse. So let's listen to it again, having a better definition of what King Solomon was saying. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid. So let's unpack this a bit more and dig into the first part of the verse. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge. Does anyone really love discipline? Like anyone? Well, if you think of discipline in a way of punishment, yeah, then no. But King Solomon is actually using the word discipline in a different way. The way he's using it is more like training or guidance or education. In other words, we could say, whoever loves guidance loves knowledge. Whoever loves training loves knowledge. Whoever loves education loves knowledge. Well, now this I can get behind. This makes sense. Knowledgeable people are those who study hard, listen well, and have wise understanding. But King Solomon is going deeper than this. He's saying that we gain wisdom when we welcome correction. Well, what's the opposite of welcoming this kind of discipline? And that's where we get to the second part of the verse. Whoever hates correction is stupid. We all know people who we wish would listen to good advice, but their posture towards learning or being corrected is of serious hostility. The phrase, there's just no talking to them, really rings true. But this posture also affects our walk with God. Our attitude towards being corrected really does affect our spiritual life. When our posture is one of, I don't need advice, I know what I know, we miss out on beautiful instruction and wisdom that only God can provide. Here's another example from the Bible, but this one is from the New Testament and comes from Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. It's found in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verses 24 to 27. The wise and foolish builders. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who's built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. The best architect for us to follow is to follow the very one who created us. King Solomon in the Old Testament and Jesus in the New Testament are telling us the same thing. It's vital to listen to God's word and correct what needs adjusting. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, but staying on the right track, building on the right foundation, means you have to listen to wise counsel. And know this. I started off this podcast starting about braces. They're just a really good example of how adjustments make big differences. But the person wearing the braces doesn't do the adjusting. That belongs to the orthodontist. This is a doctor who has studied teeth and dental work and whatever else orthodontists study for a very, very, very long time. They know what they're doing. I would not. How silly would it be if I adjusted my braces and then got mad when my teeth weren't getting straight? It is so good to love learning. It is also so good to listen to good correction. That's good discipline. Our lives will be better when we welcome that godly advice. Refusing to learn, refusing to listen, well, that really is, as King Solomon says, stupid. There's a solid foundation waiting for us to start building on, and chasing that is really smart. Thanks for listening today. I hope this podcast was a blessing to you, and we'll see you next week.